New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning. Laura Stiles. Where's Rosenberg? Yom Kippur.
Yom
That's
Kippur.
right. He's yoming out here. Yo, Jessie Reyez is on the program. Jessie Reyez has a new song that is, first of all, the video's amazing.
Thank you. Shout out Peter Wang.
We got together and like watched the whole thing.
Yeah, we had like a watching,
Sick.
a viewing.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. So we got to get right to it because this is one of many conversations we've had, but this song is amazing, right?
you.
And the amazing thing for me is you were able to create a love song with visuals that deal with the current issues with the immigration crisis that we're seeing with immigrants and ICE and a lot of things that, both black and brown people coming from Latin America are experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear from you how tough it was to create this love song that also visually dealt with what we're seeing right now in the news.
The song wasn't difficult because the song was just a vibe. Like, it was just vibing and talking about it in the most basic way. Like, before diving into that at the deep end of like everything that it could be about, it was just about black and white long distance love. Like loving somebody and then being ripped apart and then being far away. And then the lines that stuck out the most to me once the song was done was the government wants us to break up. And it just kept sticking out. And I was like, man, I want to make this a moment because I feel like so many people go through that. So many people feel that. And it's not just love between, like romantic love, but it's like family.
Of course.
But it's also love of culture too, right? Because many times in the history of America, right, to come to America meant that you were going to abandon things that you love to be a part of this new society, right? And a lot of people did that. Like I have friends, and I'm sure you do too, and you do too, who their family didn't teach them how to speak Spanish because it was like, we don't want you to have an accent. We want you to fit in.
Yeah.
Or they changed their name because they didn't want to have...
Assimilating. They wanted to assimilate.
So there's that breakup too, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
the
crazy.
government wanting that sort of breakup.
It's wild. And so all those elements that we wanted to take into account. And I was working with Peter Wang, who's a director I work with often, who's mad sick. And we tried, like, this was definitely a full-fledged collaboration. We tried, and I'm the one that kept scrapping it and being like, no, like I want it to be viscerally about that because I know that it would juxtapose because the song isn't blatantly that if you just hear the audio, but as soon as you hear the video, then that it would force you into that state of shoot. I've never been in those shoes. I feel. I've never thought about it in that way. I don't know, for people that have never been in that situation to actually feel it.
It's also important because I think people look at it, right? Like, obviously, I'm a daughter of immigrants, so I see things differently. But I know people who are like, people really need to just come here legally, and then they wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah.
But they don't understand, like, how deep it is. And to a lot of people, it's just so simple. You know what I mean? And they don't really understand the dynamics of how it tears families apart and like why people choose to make these sacrifices of leaving
or how long it takes to do it legally.
Oh my God!
That people don't understand that. People like just do it legally. I mean, this shit takes it could take over 10 years.
No, yeah.
And if you're trying
it took 20 years.
Yo, my family took 16 years.
Yeah,
it took 16 years to do it legally. And I'm like, well, and we were fortunate because we weren't in the position that a lot of these people were in, where they're like running away from violence or running away from persecution, or you know what I mean. So it's you're right. And it's easy like, for us to feel it.
Like my older sister took her 14 years, but it's like that's 14 years with you being without your daughter or your mom or your sister or your brother. Like people don't really understand that.
Well, and then you have the socio-political, right, issues that our Americans have the privilege often to be blind to, which is these nations, right, from Mexico, South into Central America and parts of South America, are dumping grounds for, like, American weapons, right? Mexico has one place to buy guns, and it takes you, like, 3 to 6 months to even get approved to go in there to buy a gun, and it's controlled by the government. Most of the guns in the streets of Mexico and Guatemala and Honduras are American guns. Like the violence is exported from America. And the people down there know it, but they can't do nothing about it. The governments are corrupt, right? The governments are put in place by America a lot of times, and they, to do better business or whatever, they have to appease the American government and business interests, right? And so these nations, you have people who are literally running for their lives, and people don't understand how deep the dynamic is. Even the economy, right? A lot of people don't know this. For a nation that is, even Mexico, for them to do business internationally, right? Part of the North American Free Trade Agreement is that Mexico, Canada, and America will talk to each other first before they go try to sell their resources in the ground or oil or anything. And if America is not cool with you selling your oil or whatever to whatever nation, they can economically impact your whole country. And which keeps these nations poor, a lot of them. So you have government corruption, you have the dynamics of American international business, you got all of the guns that leave America going into these other countries, and then when the people flee and try to come to a better life,
They get blamed.
they get blamed.
It's wild.
It's so deep and it's nasty. And by the way, not only that, it's racist. Because if you look at most of the nations, Central, South America, Mexico, most of the elites look like white people. The people who are running to the border don't look like the people who are in the government and on TV in these nations.
Yeah.
They look like us.
Colorism.
Yeah. It's
Racism, colorism, whatever you want to call it, right? And because trust me, if they were blonde hair, blue-eyed Mexicans coming to the border, they would be welcomed with open arms. You better believe that.
What kind of reactions are you getting from the video?
Both. Like, which is expected, both sides of the spectrum. People that empathize, people who understand that perspective because they have family that have been through it or because of their roots. And then the other side of people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't been to this or where. It's been both sides, but it's something that, like, I'm used to because of certain songs that I've made in the past that I'm like, it's expected, it's whatever. I feel like I was being inauthentic if I chose to muzzle myself now, you know?
Of course.
And I feel like art's, like, good art supposed to be divisive, like, it's supposed to divide people. You're supposed to either love it or hate it.
Challenge people,
You're
for
supposed
sure.
to challenge people, so whatever. People could love it, people could hate it. I don't care. It's cool. Just
But
take
you've
it.
also kind of always been that I don't want to say antagonist, but a person that challenges people's comfort and wants them to think. Like that's always kind of been that's who you are as a human being. Like it's not an act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're always challenging people.
Why are you laughing, bro? My manager's like,
But yourself, I'm sure you do it to yourself also. I'm sure you challenge yourself the
yeah,
same way.
man, I do. I do. I do. I mean, I feel like a lot of it stems from trust issues because I'm just forever asking why though, why.
Right.
Yeah, it just, I guess, bleeds into music. It bleeds into everything because it's in my life.
Collaborations on this new album you have coming up.
Oh, damn it.
Can't give me that. All right. What's the name of the album? Can you give me that? Damn, struck that.
What
Strike
can you
two.
give us?
Date of the album release.
Next year. Hey! Next year.
Now, you currently have collaborated. I mean, at this point, shit, you've collaborated with Black, Chance the Rapper, Kehlani, Eminem. Oh shit, Eminem, Romeo Santos. Calvin Harris. No, I like it, Calvin. It's love. Speaking of Romeo Santos and the Latin Grammys, have you watched what's going on with the Latin Grammys? Have you
About
paid attention?
the lack of presence for reggaeton.
Yeah, there's the kind of the more urban
Yeah,
street
sin reggaeton la
sounds.
cultura. Yeah, man. Of course.
And they've been snubbing Romeo for a minute.
That's wild.
But you know, a lot of the Grammys, by the way, Latin Grammys, I'm sure it's the same organization, right? I don't know if it's under the same umbrella.
It's under the same umbrella,
Right.
definitely.
The Grammy Foundation or whatever it is. We got to start asking our producers and songwriters if they're registered to vote. Because if you're not voting, like the way the Grammys works, you can only vote in the categories that you are active in, and then you get to vote on album of the year, song of the year, whatever. Right?
Yeah,
like
like you
everybody
choose a
votes in the
minute-
big
you-
one.
yeah.
But in the specific genres, only people that make music in those genres get to vote in
Yeah.
that. So I think for Romeo, the OG bachateros, they're clearly not supporting and voting for
It's
him.
weird because I always thought that's the reason why he embraces the old bachateros, because every show he does, he brings out a legend. Like
Right.
the one he sold out at was it MetLife?
Yeah, recently.
He brought all the OGs out. He always does that.
But that's more recent. Was he doing that before?
I think he kind of had to, because he got, I know being a young, it was like considered like straight bachata. A lot of people rejected it because it's not traditional. You know what I mean? He put his own spin to it. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that, because he got nominated through Aventura, but never by himself. And he was
Right.
constantly ignored.
Have you paid attention to it? What's your opinion on it?
Man, I think that is difficult because when you're voting in that preliminary stage before the nominations go public, when it's like the thousands and the hundreds, if you're not, I feel like it's hard, and I don't know if because there's not, like, I could talk about this, right? Like the way that the Grammys voting
Yeah,
set
you
up,
can
because
talk
it's
about it
public
because they want
knowledge.
people to register to vote.
Yeah, so it's difficult because there can, in certain categories, there can literally be like 900 names
Right.
submitted, 1,000 names submitted. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're gonna tell me that you're gonna sit there and like let's be honest, you're gonna sit there and that's one category. So there's multiple categories. You're gonna sit there and listen to 1,000 songs to choose
so
which
you just
one
go
you
and
like.
pick names you know.
But think, like, logically speaking, what are you gonna do? You're either gonna search for, you're gonna like scroll and be like, oh shit, I recognize that name, I recognize that name, or you're gonna go off who's campaigning.
Right.
And not a lot of people do that. Like, you've seen, I know, like the thanks for your consideration? Like prior to nominations, when people are
right.
like, yo, I've been considered for this, I've been considered for that. I feel like not a lot of people do that. And if people did that, then the people that are voting would be more
Would know
inclined to
about
actually
them.
go searching and be like, oh shit, this guy, that guy, as opposed to just leaving it in the hands of like choosing 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 900. Because for the musician or the music fan that's so well educated that they know the 1,000, that's lit, but I don't.
Right.
And I'm in this world and I don't know the 1,000. I'm working. What the hell? I don't.
Right. And the average person doesn't.
No. So then I feel like maybe that has a little that I feel like could help more representation if the people that actually felt like they wanted to get represented more campaigned more in the preliminary. Thanks for your
Let
consideration.
people know that they're out there and that
Yeah.
they've been considered.
Yeah.
Have you been nominated for Latin Grammys? Mm-mm. Is that a world? I mean, you've obviously done bilingual records. You've done records in Spanish. You've done it all. Do you operate in that space? 'Cause-
Yeah, I mean, naturally, it's in my blood. It's
Right.
natural. You
No,
know?
I mean in that kind of Grammy found. I don't know, like you said, the campaigning
Yeah.
and the people voting in that world. Do your songs get submitted for that?
The thing is, they do get submitted, but I haven't been as active, I guess, in the Latin side because my Latin category of music is small compared to my English one, so it's easier for me to be more active in the latter. But there's more Spanish stuff coming in the future, so I'd like to be more present.
That's dope.
It's obviously, like, it's shitty when things aren't fair, but it's also, like, I'm not going to lie to you guys and be like, yo, I wouldn't be lit. Like, it wouldn't be lit to be considered, but it'd also be lit to have more representation.
Right. Jessie Reyez album out next year. I want to play the joint with you and Black.
Hell yeah, shout out Black, homie.
I feel like this record should be more popular, man.
Tell them. Tell the world. Hell yeah.
Do you you play the guitar, acoustic, songwriter, you make R&B records. I mean, obviously you've been on hip hop records too. The R&B space, like the bilingual R&B space. What's the young lady I like? Rosalia.
Rosalia is nasty.
She's fire.
Yeah.
And there's a number of like Latin R&B artists that are bubbling right now. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole wave, right?
Yeah, it's dope.
I love it.
Yeah, me too, man. It's crazy. It's dope. It's due. Crazy, dope, and overdue.
Let's get to it. Jessie Reyez and Black. It's always good to see you.
Thanks, man.
Anything we missed? Anything we should?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all.
You done thirst trapping on the gram? I stopped. I unfollowed you.
You
on
unfollow
IG.
me?
Yeah,
Because I was...
we cool. Like you was in your drawers too much. I had to be like,
What?
nah.
First of all, I'm going to catch an unfollow back real quick. It's number one. I'm going to go search, yo. And second of all, it wasn't no thirst trapping. We just live, just
You weren't thirsty.
female
Don't let
embracing
him.
our sexuality, okay?
you.
Eh, I'm
Don't let
Maria.
him.
Yeah, yo. Shoot.
We're proud of you, Jesse.
Nah, I love
Thank
you,
you.
Jessie.
Thanks,
you know
man.
that.
Thank you.
Yo, it's Hot 97.